A very warm welcome to IDFC First Bank presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. I'm Ritwika Gupta and you're watching highlights from our recently concluded Gurugram Springboard. Now, Gurugram's strategic proximity to the national capital, supported by a business-friendly environment, has made it a magnet for entrepreneurs and investors alike. Home to nearly 20 unicorns, the city is fast emerging as India's new age startup capital. To delve deeper into this transformation, we have curated a panel of leading industry voices. Pranav Poddar, Senior Member Young Business Leader Forum, PHDCCI, Aviral Gupta, Group Chief Executive Officer, Zostel Zo, and Nikhil Sareen, Co-Founder of Qubo. By way of opening remarks, I just want to dive straight in. I'd like to ask you a common question to each one of you. What makes Gurugram a fertile ground for entrepreneurs and startups and small businesses? What makes it a conducive place to conduct business? Let's start with you, Pranav.
Just the vibrancy of the whole place. I think you have an ecosystem of other founders living close by. And see, I'd like to get this also that Gurgaon is not just Gurgaon. Gurgaon is Delhi and Noida, Faridabad. So you have an ecosystem available which is much larger than any other city, and just the vibrancy, the ecosystem, other founders, the opportunity to meet, learn, talent. I think being in an NCR region, you get a lot of talent from some of the smaller cities, people who aspire to be in a cosmopolitan place. They come and they move. So I think why so many businesses do well is that you get very easy access to a lot of good talent. And then, yeah, I mean, you have all the national chambers of commerce. So like I also am very active with the PhD Chamber of Commerce and FICCI. You have access to events, networking, uh, decision makers, policy makers through these chambers. So if you need some advice or some access to a ministry, you have easy access to that. So I think we have access to pretty much everything that a startup founder needs. And hence that's what makes Gurgaon Gurgaon.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is home to, I think, 20, almost 20 unicorns, which is amazing. Nikhil, what is your take on that?
No, absolutely. I think Pranav covered a bunch of what I was going to say, but I think one is access, right? So I think it's located extremely strategically. You're close to the airport. You're connected to pretty much every part of the country and neighboring countries as well, right? You can get there, do business in those countries in addition to sort of being here. I think talent plays a big role. What's really unique about Gurgaon is the fact that we have so many different industries present here, right? You've got banks, you've got all the top consulting firms, you've got listed startups. So it's so diverse and vibrant. I think that helps a lot of companies because a lot of that talent actually moves across organizations, and it's very easy to get great talent for your organization.
Right. No, absolutely. I agree with you. In fact, the diversity of sectors is something which caught my eye as well. E-commerce, you've got health, you've got fintech, you've got enterprise tech. Over to you, Aviral. What's your take on this?
No, I agree with all the points, and obviously accessibility is a big point, and especially the overall infrastructure availability that is there. So that enables the satellite cities to be connected very easily. So the talent can, and obviously the Delhi NCR offers a certain kind of lifestyle that the youth wants. And I think a major point is that Delhi functions as a gateway. So India functions in a hub and spoke model. So Delhi is the hub, and then the business flows down to these spokes to these tier 2, tier 3 cities, and the entire northern ecosystem is driven by Delhi. Especially in terms of travel as well, I think the Delhi airport is serving around 80 million travelers on a yearly basis. So that is also like one of the busiest airports. So there is a good inflow of international relations in addition to the policy that access that companies have. So we've been working with the Delhi government to transform the overall travel policy with Zostel and bring backpacking as a culture to India. So they have been very supportive in that sense. So, and this is a Zostel is a homegrown, Delhi-grown company, becoming the world's largest hostel chain in the world. So I think it's all down to how Delhi has helped us grow in that matter.
Fantastic. Pranav, I want to come to you. Now, you are leading the Young Business Leader Forum, at PHDCCI. I want to know how conducive is the environment for young business leaders and emerging businesses if they want to, like, sort of, if I'm a young entrepreneur and if I want to start up in Gurugram, what are the key things I need to take care of?
So, every institution or organization today has their own forum. So, CII has its Young Indians, PhD Chamber has Young Business Leaders Forum, and so on. TIE has their own. And I think everybody has their own niche. So, at PhD Chamber of Forum, we are actually specialists, if I can call it that, in second, third, fourth gen entrepreneurs. Because PhD Chamber is a 120-year-old industry chamber, and so you would have a lot of second, third, fourth gen. So what happens with the second or the third gen is that their fathers or grandfathers have started the business. They want to do something of their own or change the way of working, and sometimes you hit a roadblock. So it's a forum or it's a platform given to second, third, fourth gen where you can learn, you can network, you can get mentored. Um, and then grow your own or do your own stuff. So I think that's the niche which PhD has created for themselves. And of course, true startup founder who's doing first gen uh, is also most welcome. It's not that we're excluding them. They have their own set of challenges. Capital might be one of the biggest challenges. For a second, third gen, capital is not really the biggest issue. They're getting that from their previous business. So I think everybody has their own niche areas, and we try to focus on mentoring or coaching the second, third gen of, okay, you have a brilliant idea, but you're not getting support from within the family. What more can you do? So I think that's where we are.
Right. Coming to you, Nikhil. Now, you have, as an Qubo has integrated technology seamlessly in your line of smart living offerings, devices across home, auto, lifestyle. I want to know how are entrepreneurs in Gurugram in the ecosystem? How are they taking to digital adoption, technology, AI? Is there something that you can talk to us about?
Absolutely. I think technology is really evolving here, right? I mean, I was reading, I think of all the AI startups today in the country, I think 35% today are present here in Gurugram, right? So I think that's really helped us. For us, we're a deep technology company. We've built everything ground up, over the last 4 or 5 years, which it actually makes us stand out in this industry. And I think that's only been possible because of the great talent that's been present here, which has helped us sort of build not just the technology side, but, actually within the technology side, so many different things, right? Like, understanding of things like what goes on the cloud, how do you build a firmware for the product? How do you integrate it with hardware from, and components, let's say, from an overseas country, right? So all of those different skill sets, I think, exist here. And that's helped us, hire the right people and build great products and actually scale the company in the last few years.
Right. Coming to you, Aviral. Now, Zostel is in the travel and hospitality space, which you set up. And now you're also working towards Zo. You're also leading Zo, which is, from what I understand, it's a global community of entrepreneurs, innovators, artists, right? So tell me, what does it take to think local to global,
I think it's very simple. You keep it simple, stupid. You have that kid in you that dreams larger dreams and is bold enough or sometimes stupid enough to just follow it mindlessly sometimes, and then you build the courage, you build the intelligence, you build the networks to go ahead and follow that dream. So Zoo was started with this concept of enabling everyone to follow their hearts. It can be anything from building companies to even, let's say, making a career in FIFA or making career out in music industry. So, and that is why the overall ecosystem is based on community as the central crux. And that's something that we learned from Zostel, having built the largest community over the past 10 years. And now we are at a stage that this community is enabling us to get into a network state effect that the business is growing with the help of this community without us having to put that sort of effort in it. So it's only about finding the right set of people and enabling them, giving them the courage, giving them the tools, the infrastructure, and the spaces to connect and build the dreams out together.
It's time for a quick break here. We'll be back shortly. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You're watching highlights from our Gurugram Springboard, continuing the panel discussion on Gurugram's rapid rise as India's new age startup capital. Listen in. So we spoke about local to global technology policy, but I think when we speak about opportunities, we also need to speak about the challenges. And I think the last couple of days, the rains, created havoc in Gurugram, and I think a lot of people have been vocal about it. The infrastructure. So this is a common question I want to ask all of you. Do you think that there is a gap between, on one side we have Gurugram's booming business ecosystem, and the other side we have the infrastructure, which perhaps needs a bit of work? Pranav, let's start with you.
So yeah, I mean, this is something, I'll give you a personal example, right? So we are in a region where, of course, monsoons, if we talk about, and Gurgaon, this happens every year. So it's not happened for the first time. The other thing which will start from October onwards is the whole pollution aspect. So at one side, we may all crib about the air pollution, about the roads getting clogged. But the point is, we still choose to live here and work here, right? So it's a net effect. You win some, you lose some. So that is where I am.
Well, it's not much different in Mumbai. Nikhil, I would like to hear from you.
I think obviously what Pranav said, but adding to that, I think some of the other challenges here obviously are, it's an expensive place, right? The cost of talent is more expensive. Everything around us is costlier than probably what it would be in, some of the other cities in India. But I think having said that, the quality of that talent sort of makes up for it. Obviously, there are infrastructural challenges, what happened last week with the rains, etc. But I think if you keep that part aside and just look at it maybe in a more long-term, the whole year perspective, I think, Gurgaon still has, or maybe the NCR region still has great connectivity, right?
Aviral, do you agree with them, or do you have a slightly different answer?
No, I do agree with them to a certain extent, but obviously look at the overall picture. The industry has grown pretty fast compared to how the infrastructure can catch up. That is not to give leeway to the government or the policy making, but I think they would have their priorities set straight into making this more comfortable and building that infrastructure. But at the same time, what we've seen, especially even after the COVID pandemic, that digitization and digital economy is something that is picked up extremely fast. People have learned how to work in a hybrid mode. People have learned how to work remotely, work from different places. Delhi offers that accessibility, obviously, of these different satellite cities, but 4, 5 hours, 6 hours from here, you have the mountains, you have Rajasthan. So all throughout the year, you have that flexibility of going across these places if the digital infrastructure is strong enough to support that.
Pranav, coming back to you now, the Haryana government has done a lot, in terms of the Startup Haryana policy. But I think one topic that has been in debate, I would say, is the 70% local hiring mandate. I want to ask you, because you spoke about talent, how can entrepreneurs then, ensure that, they are incorporating inclusive growth as well as hiring the right talent for their companies?
So I think when this came in, I think last year there was a lot of hue and cry about it. I think the matter is kind of at abeyance, and I don't think a lot of service-based businesses or startup businesses are really affected by it in principle. And nobody's coming knocking on your door saying that nobody's doing an audit like that. I think some of the manufacturing folks are a little affected by that. So if you talk about large automotive manufacturing, because they're large and they have maybe a 5,000, 10,000 workforce, they do have to meet those kind of compliances. But I think for a lot of startup communities where you need talent and you need to find that talent from wherever they may be, that may not be local. So I think to that extent, I think there is no such thing where there's no policing to that extent, and entrepreneurs are free to do what they want.
Speaking of policy, I can't help but bring up GST 2.0, which is everybody's talking about it, and especially with you and Nikhil, I want to know your take. Of course, I'll come to you as well, Pranav. Has that impacted your industries in any way? Avril, actually, let's start with you.
I think we still have to see the effect in the longer term. It is definitely going to benefit the customers because you slash the rates from 12% to 5%. The benefit gets passed on to the customers directly. But obviously there are other intricacies in play, especially for the overall. So from a brand perspective, we are very happy because allows us to price even lower. pass it on to the customers. But from an individual hotelier or from an individual franchisee perspective who have their other services and their leases and all of that, so there is still a little bit more way to go to enable them to maximize their margins.
Sure, Nikhil?
Sure. So for us directly, I think at least there's no impact, there's no reduction in GST on any of the products. But having said that, I think it's the whole ecosystem that comes together, right? So customers will hopefully have more disposable income. They will spend more. They might buy products that maybe earlier on they wouldn't, right? So that's, I think, the hope.
Pranav, do you think GST 2.0 will enable more smaller businesses to join the formal tax network?
Of course, absolutely. But I'd like to also point out something. Just before coming here, I got an email from my finance head. So while GST 2.0 has improved the sentiments, and of course it will increase the consumer spending, I think businesses also need to look at the fine print. And I'll give you a very live example. One of my brands, I run a baby and kids brand, and some of our items were at 12%. So because 12% has gone out, so some of the items have gone to 5, but some have gone to 18. The fine print is that if the cost of the item is more than 2,500 rupees, it doesn't go to 5%, it goes from 12 to 18. Now, if you're a mass premium or a luxury brand, probably your items are going to be more than 2,500. So there's a bit of a, it's kind of mixed. I still have to go through the details as an entrepreneur. So while the sentiment is extremely positive and that helps, from a business perspective, we still have to read the fine print and see how it goes.
Ladies and gentlemen, read the fine print, please. And coming to you, Nikhil, now you are, Qubo is backed by Hero Corp. I want to ask you, what advice would you have, for entrepreneurs out there, who want to set up in Gurugram in terms of, scaling, in terms of seeking funding, the right kind of funding?
Sure. I mean, we've been fortunate to, have been backed by the Hero Group, right? And that's helped us get to where we are today. In Gurgaon, there's a lot of capital available, right? A lot of venture capitalists are based out of here. They are looking to meet with good founders. There is capital available. Obviously, it comes with the caveat today that the expectation is for businesses to have strong or better unit economics, right? It's not like how it used to be maybe a few years ago. But I think there is capital available, both equity capital, debt capital. So founders can reach out. There are a lot of groups that they can be a part of. And I think, as I said, Gurgaon is a very dense ecosystem, right? Everyone's connected to each other. People are willing to help.
Aviral, a very similar question to you. The journey from Zostel to Zo now, what advice would you have for entrepreneurs in terms of the kind of support that they can seek, if they're setting up in Gurugram, the kind of doors they can knock at, if they want to seek funding? How did you perhaps do it as well, in terms of scaling? What are the options available? If you could talk to us about that.
I think the advice that I would give is that be very honest and be very bold in terms of approaching anyone. You can approach the founders, you can approach the bankers, you can approach the VCs. We have facilitators, we have accelerators. So it's just a question, and that's the basic principle of entrepreneurship. You have to do it today, you have to do it now, and then you realize, what is to be done next or what is you are doing wrong.
Right. Pranav, coming to you, which are the sectors you are most bullish about, that you think will evolve into something else, from what we are seeing today?
So other than the usual suspects, which everybody is talking about, I think wellness, and of course I have one business in that, but overall there's a huge scope for actually making interventions in people's lives.
Sure. Nikhil, I know you spoke about this earlier, but how do you think Gurugram's proximity to Delhi, to New Delhi, is helping in its growth journey? And I'm talking from the point of view, versus a Bangalore or a Mumbai, what sort of advantages do you think the city has because it is close to the capital?
I think a bunch of things, right? If you look at just if you look at the map and you look at the northern part of the country, I think this is just one region which is so powerful, right? Like 5 different cities close to each other. And if you just do a quick survey of the talent that works for organizations, you'll realize that one of the reasons they pick say Delhi or Gurgaon is because most of them come, or maybe they've studied at small towns nearby, and then they find great opportunity here in Delhi or in Gurgaon. and they want to stay close to home, right? They want to have access to keep going back frequently, right? I think that's an advantage that that Delhi and Gurgaon obviously have. It allows you to have a stickiness in that talent.
Aviral, there's this whole conversation about how AI is going to take up jobs, displace a lot of people. What's your take on that, on AI? Especially because you're in the tech space as well.
I think our lives have changed completely since especially the last 2 years. And internally, we believe that you are only as smart as your AI right now. And it has given that sort of decentralization of knowledge right now that if you're not using AI on a daily basis, you would be falling behind. With Zo, we have employed AI at every single customer touch point that we have, from marketing, lead generation, generative art, prediction, dynamic analysis. So, and even into voice systems, we are making our own sentient intelligence system. So it's like you have a team of multiple assistants that can enable you to grow much, much faster.
Well, gentlemen, as we are wrapping up this very insightful discussion, I want to close this with a common question to all three of you. What is your outlook on Gurugram's business ecosystem in the next 5 to 10 years? Pranav, let's start with you.
So I think we are going to keep on, in terms of territory, keep on expanding. So you will have more of these satellite towns joining in. So again, it adds to the talent pool. It adds to business ecosystems. You'll have many more entrepreneurs.
I agree. Nikhil?
Totally agree with him. I think I see a lot more companies coming out in the next 5-10 years. A lot of the current mid to early to mid stage startups probably going public in the next 5 to 10 years. Technology companies getting set up here, and honestly, maybe some of the infrastructural challenges also getting addressed over time. Leading to just the ecosystem getting much stronger in the next few years.
Aviral?
I think for us, the personal goal is to make Delhi the largest backpacker capital of Asia, overtaking Bangkok, overtaking Phuket and the likes. And we have the history, we have the mythology, we have the culture to do that. And at the same time, because of the kind of companies that are coming across, and we say obviously Bangalore has this tech and everything, I believe that Gurugram is like not far behind at all. So there is going to be a passion economy that is going to overtake the entire ecosystem, wherein people would be working for themselves and there would be an incentive model in place.
Passion economy, I love that. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. This was a wonderful discussion. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of IDFC First Bank Presents Leaders of Tomorrow Season 13. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.